connecting. This is connecting. Every time you every year's like so then you have to go back to it. Once everything done, you have to go back to this one, let them do it.
Let's say after,
Unless you want to do the whole screen sharing, you don't have to do anything.
because one this one's cannot hear, right? Okay, so cannot hear. Podcasting.
So just okay, let's say this one finish, right? So let's skip. Then you go to let's say
Not say escape, it's not persistence.
Sorry, it's totally hanging for a while. Technical problems. Is it okay? It's okay?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Just I was saying, we started off with 2009 with this project in particular. And how we started with BIM is quite interesting. At that time, there was no mandatory requirements for BIM. But the design of this building is quite peculiar in the sense that you see the curved shell walls, those are actually structural. So there presents a little bit of problems, a challenge in coordination between archi and structure. So I met up with a friend. At the time, he introduced me to the Revit software, and we thought that it might be a good solution to model it and do coordination before the actual construction is up. So in our office, we adapted this as our first trial project, and it was quite successful because immediately after modeling, we had to tell the contractors to hang on for a while because we found clashes and we had to rectify the model before it's being constructed. So we kind of find out that actually, hey, this is a good software. Yes, more complex to use, but it does give us some benefits in that sense. So from then on, we slowly started to trial 1 or 2 projects along the way, not full-scale adoption. Okay. We also came out with a roadmap, what to do by a certain year, and we basically educated and mobilized our company to tweak the mindset to slowly transition into BIM. Okay, so that takes a couple of years, and it is done with sort of a strategic planning because you need to have an overall roadmap in order to achieve the goals. Okay, and this is where we are right now, starting from 2008, 2009, all the way to 2012 and beyond. We are looking at federated BIM models, integrated project delivery, BIM server, automation, and all that. I think the future part we will elaborate on the last part of the presentation. Okay. So, what does BIM mean to us? I think one of the very important advantage is that it's actually a very good tool for collaboration between all disciplines. Okay, and usually in many projects, these are the basic KPIs. Oops, sure what I did, but okay. Sorry. These are the usual KPIs which you will meet time and again when you go out. The project managers, developers always want the projects to be delivered on time, within budget, and a certain amount of quality. And actually, BIM collaboration does help to achieve that goal. Okay. Later on, we will have 3 actual examples to show you the process of collaboration and how we try to hit these targets. Okay, and we are looking at using a federated BIM model to coordinate all the parties, architects, builders, consultants, and developers. So BIM is not really just about modeling. It's not really just about ArchiCAD or Revit or whatever. It is actually this whole process of collaboration and information management. So that is really what the usefulness of BIM comes in. Okay, just a bit theoretical, but this is the usual workflow of every project. You start with design proposal, design development, then project goes through authority submission. You need to submit to URA, BCA for approval and all that. All this while, the consultants are doing different things. But if you look at the purple color curve, okay, the traditional peak in the workflow is usually a lot of details are being sorted out at this stage, where, for example, some plans may not even be coordinated where the tender is being called. So when the contractor is already on board, you start to sort out these technical problems or clashes. What we are trying to do with the help of BIM is actually to solve all these problems upfront, because the sooner you do it, the less impact on cost and time you will have. So this is a very good graphical method to understand. Okay, yeah, and also along this process, we are using a wide variety of software. So, we are Revit users, okay, but BIM is not just about Revit. In fact, in the beginning, you almost never jump into Revit or whatever BIM software or Torium software. You will start with basic 3D, like maybe SketchUp, okay, for example, when you do, or 3D Max, when you do your proposal, okay, only until a certain stage of design development, then we start to introduce Revit, because then we have the amount of details to do that. All right, so this is one important thing. It doesn't mean it's not BIM. This is also all part of building information, except different degrees of information is embedded inside. Okay, so throughout the later, when Matt starts to present the actual projects, we actually have a bar, a colored bar on the left hand side to show you at that stage what kind of software is involved. Okay, I think Matt will take over for the 3 case studies.
Thank you.
Okay, so we start with our case studies. To illustrate our story of BIM in the projects, we'll be using 3 main protagonists or 3 main projects. We have Fulcrum, we have Singa Hills, and we have Grace. 2 of which, the first 2 are residential, and the third one is actually a church. So every project starts with engaging the clients. How do we engage them? We need to tell them our story of the project itself. In the story of Fulcrum, it started with the idea of how do we maximize views towards the sea. So through a series of LD100 massing models, we actually illustrate our design concept by tilting the building, orientating towards the sea, asking us the question of how do all units actually get a sea view? Because some units will be facing the opposite side. So it came out the idea of interlocking units that actually stack, which is actually illustrated through a series of diagrams that show the transformation. And eventually we came up with the main form, which is able to be conveyed to the client themselves through the use of these massing models. From a massing model, the model gets more developed. From LD100 becomes a more detailed. And finally, we end up with a sales perspective that we can actually convince both the developer and the buyers of the project. Similarly, I mean, massing models and SketchUp models, they don't really tell a good story to the client. We need 3D visualization, and what do we use? In addition to Revit, we also use an additional software called Lumion, which allows us to generate 3D visualizations in real time. So we can illustrate this with a little video clip, which is actually generated from the Revit model. It may look a bit like a video game at the moment, but as technology progresses, we believe this technology will gain more momentum and be a lot better than what it is at the moment. So what this allows for is for the developer themselves, when they look at this, they can actually decide, okay, I don't like the driveway color, I don't like the facade color, can you change it? On the spot, we can just do the changes, and in less than half an hour or 1 hour, we can generate a new video, or we can just generate a new 3D image for the developer themselves to look at it and see whether the changes that they want should be implemented. Additionally, we also use Revit to engage not only developers, not only industrial people, but even the public. In the story of Fulcrum again, because of the complexity of the interlocking units, there needed to be a way to communicate this to the buyers, to the potential buyers. One method that we thought of was actually to develop a Revit model and allow access to even the sales agents. So what you see here is actually the visual used by sales agents on their mobile devices. So that when they communicate to potential buyers, what the sales agent can do is actually rotate the model to show them that for each unit, which is the views that they're having to the north, which is the views that they're having to the south. And of course, we have the nice images for sales perspectives. Traditionally, the process between architects and the sales perspectives is really quite a long drawn process. There's a lot of to and fro, a lot of commenting, a lot of changes, but all this is actually shortened by us handing over our BIM model to the perspectivists themselves. Because our BIM model is already coordinated beforehand, the sales perspectivists who are actually using the model can actually get a very accurate picture up front, and they do not need to make as many changes as before. So what we see here are images rendered through our external renderers, but using our model. Then the next part of every project comes to the coordination process between consultants. So we can see a typical coordination, BIM coordination meeting held in our office. Involves our CNS, our M&E, even our client themselves. Our ultimate goal for our BIM in our projects is to have a very complete federated model with all the different disciplines integrated into the same model. So you can see it starts from an architectural model. We model out the elements that we want, the design intent that we have. Our structure inputs the structural elements from the foundation works, the columns, the beams, all the way to the structural steel roofing system. Our M&E actually comes in. We detail out our sockets, our electrical, our firefighting systems, our lighting fixtures. Why do we go so in depth? A good thing about doing all this upfront is actually that it minimizes downstream changes. All the setting outs will be decided before the construction even starts, and there will be less coordination downstream. So even things like sanitary system, piping, aircon locations, all these are actually planned out before construction even begins. Eventually, we'll have a coordination model, which we can then use for coordinating with the contractor themselves. Okay, but modeling is one thing. How do we ensure that the model that we use in our coordination process is actually good, it's actually usable? We actually run a software called Solibri to do basic model tracking. What this software helps is to ensure that our model is actually done properly without any duplicate items or duplicate components. It also enables us to run basic authority checks like the minimum walkway widths or even the fire door swing, etc. And if a project gets too big in size, like the case of our HDB Tampines, where we have about 1,400 dwelling units, we actually use another third-party software called Navisworks to help us to manage a very large Revit model. Typically, if you open a model of this size in Revit, you have to have a supercomputer. Otherwise, you probably can't even rotate it properly. Whereas an external software like Navisworks helps us to compress the file size and makes it very smooth even when we cut sections and views through the model. In addition, when coordinating with our consultants, there's always the idea of how do we share the model. Instead of sharing through Dropbox, through emails, etc., we actually use cloud sharing through a Revit server. What this does is it helps to automate the administrative process between updating the files on our part and on their part. So everyone will be aware of what is the latest file that's to be used and which ones are the coordinated versions of the file itself. Then when we do our submission processes, what we try to do is that since we have already input so much detail into our BIM models, how do we actually streamline our authority submission processes? Simple things that can be automated, we try to automate. A classic example would be our idea of a buildability score. In our Singapore context, when we submit to BCA, we are actually required to tabulate all the different wall types and the wall lengths so that they can actually count the productivity or the buildability of the project itself. For our company, recognizing that all this information is already in a BIM model, we came up with a scripting way to actually automate the process to extract the information of the wall types and the wall lengths from the BIM model itself. Then through a series of automated processes, the information is extracted into an Excel file, which we can then use for our submission process. So instead of spending numerous hours to count the wall lengths to do a very laborious process, we are actually able to save time through automation. Then we look at the story of our Grace AOG, where we have a very complex geometry of the atrium wall. If you notice here, the shape of it is actually like an eggshell, part of eggshell, where it's a double curve. So it curves in one direction, it curves in the other as well. It's inspired by the cliffs of Petra, where you see here, and the internal view is quite stunning in itself. In a 2D environment, one will ask, how do we document such a geometry? I mean, where do we even cut the sections? How do we know exactly what's the setting up? The good thing about having a BIM model, where it's well coordinated, is that we are able to extract critical sections from the model itself to generate setting out points for construction. So instead of us having to project individual lines for section cuts, we are able to use a 3D model and just run through where we want the sections to be cut. And eventually on site, this will lead to more accurate site construction. Then, of course, because we wanted to clad the wall in stone, so how do we even generate a cutting list of this magnitude, of this size? If we were to do all this manually in CAD, can you imagine how much time we would spend? So the good thing about using Revit is that all this can actually be done through the software in a very quick time. And we can actually use the output generated from Revit to go to the production, to go to the stone suppliers and tell them the cutting list directly from here. So eventually you see construction is now in progress, but the stone walls have been cladded and it starts to look pretty decent or pretty impressive. As we go on to construction stage, there's always coordination between contractors and consultant teams. Traditionally, coordination is done in a very 2D format. Everything is in 2D drawings. Whereas with the use of BIM, we are able to generate 3D visuals that enable clarity of thought between the contractor and the architect. Whatever the contractor wants to ask, he can put it in a very 3D format, and immediately the consultant team will be able to understand what is it that he needs or what is it that he wants, and we can reply in a shorter time frame. So these are other examples that we have done in Grace Assembly of God. Then on site, even on site, we have easy access to our BIM model. We actually refer to it during our technical meetings and all that. We enable this through the use of Autodesk 360, through our mobile apps, through our laptops. And even the construction team itself, in the case of Grace, they actually have the foreman with a tablet and easy access to the BIM model for the coordination purposes. So what we see is that, what do we expect in the future? I mean, we have told the story from design to construction, but there are many ways that BIM can be used to even make it more productive, to make things even better. Within our company, we are looking towards full compliance automation. We are working together with Solibri, which is an external software, a third-party software, to see how they can actually implement our local guidelines as a rule set into their system. So with this, we hope that we can actually have a full set to test through BCA requirements, FSSD requirements, etc. It is still early stage, but we are currently working together with them. Another aspect is generation of specifications. Information for wall types, for whatever systems, they are all in the model itself. So we are looking at a way to actually extract this information so that we do not have to manually prepare PDF documents or whatever, in addition to what we have done in the model. Then interestingly, the next part is actually integration of BIM and the fabrication process. Traditionally, again, we go through the bid, the tender, whatever. How do we integrate our BIM model with a fabrication to streamline the whole process so that things can be built even faster? One of our ongoing projects is actually looking at integrating our BIM with the steel fabrication so that whatever is modeled out in a BIM can actually be given to the production, and they can start to cut their rebars according to our BIM model itself. In addition, in future, with the current trend of productivity and ease of building, we are actually moving towards design for manufacturing and assembly. What this means is that we design for ease of manufacturing, we design for ease of assembly. From our BIM model, we can actually think of things that are components like PBUs, PPVCs, or we can even panelize different parts of the building that can be precast for construction purpose. So in short, what we're trying to say is that BIM is not modeling. So BIM enables much more than modeling. BIM is actually a tool that we can engage different parties through different softwares for different purposes. Yeah, so we are open to any questions from the students.
Any question you'd like to ask them?
No questions.
No question?
The question how to. Okay. A word from my BIM manager. I'm the BIM manager of the Log Architects. So just few words for the international BIM competition. So I think you still have time until the competition. So maybe a few weeks. The important thing in doing BIM projects is planning. So if you fail to plan, then you are planned to fail. You know what I mean? So important thing, maybe as early as now, you should research all your things. Maybe you gather all softwares that you needed for the competition. Maybe if you have the teams now, maybe you give them all those responsibilities that you may need to do during the competition. So for BIM projects, actually, it's very important to have a teamwork, and members must be also good team player. So if someone if someone left behind, so maybe if you maybe the team leader or maybe those experienced one should help your team members. Otherwise, it can jeopardize your. Although I'm just talking about the competition, not the actual BIM project, but as far my experience, it will maybe instead of getting the BIM project work, then maybe you will have like few times to rectify those works that done by by one of your colleagues or maybe your team member. So I think that's all for me. Any questions?
Well, this does it have to be, I mean, or any other comments or things you want to point out? Yes, yes.
Elaborate more on the part where you're offering the submission requirements and all that, right?
Buildability.
Oh, this one. Okay, basically this one is normally in last time the traditional way of doing this one is actually if you have the plan already, you will put some poly lines, then you can use the list command to get all the lengths based on the whatever is the buildability score ID. But since we already have the model and it's already have the information, which is it's not only the wall actually, it also includes the railing and some of the columns. So instead of doing the traditional way where you export the Revit plans, then you do the buildability score ID in AutoCAD. So why you can actually create a schedule, wall schedule with filters, of course, and other one you can export it to report. So last time actually we had this issue that when we export it to the CSV file or report file, we don't have the automation to do it straight away to key into the buildability score form. So what we did actually is actually to create another third-party API, application programming interface, to load all these reports and automatically key in it to the buildability score forms, which is I think I'm not sure if you can see it now here, quite smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The trigger is here. The trigger behind is the pointer.
Can point here? Can point here. So this one actually, I'm actually sharing this one to BCA. So more or less, this one will be available soon. So I'm not sure how does it work because it's still under progress. We're trying to tweak it out. I'm also working with the because we have this problem now in submission where BCA actually wants to submit the BP drawings with 3D and with color coding for each wall, and they want it to have a tabulation on how many, what's the total length of the wall on a specific view. So that one, I'm also working with that one with the API. So don't worry about that one because I'm sharing it. So another important thing is in BIM is actually sharing. So if you don't share your things, I think you won't learn at all. Okay. Okay. Sure.
How do you actually share your model to the contractor?
How we actually share models with the contractors?
What do I say? What's the word?
We don't have a slide specific. Okay, but maybe we'll illustrate this with our Singa Hills project. So actually for the coordination process, after we had done the coordination during the design development stage, we actually headed the Revit model straight to the contractor themselves. Yeah, so yeah, it was.
So another question is actually, I believe design to work. So how do you make it design change? Because we have a model that has to go through process changes that are already your design already come out. So contractor can be smoothly introduced.
Okay, again, in the example of Singa Hills, ownership of the model is still under the architect. So whatever coordination is done after the contractor has been awarded is still controlled through the normal processes of AD issuance and AI issuance. So it's still a contractual thing. But of course, the model will also be updated to the contractor themselves so that they can still refer to the 3D model for their coordination. But we regularize through proper issuance of the ADs and the AIs. Yeah.
So,
again, this one varies from project to project, but in this example, the model that is used for coordination is the same model that's handed to the contractor, so they do not model their own model. Yeah.
However, for the racetrack project, the contractors themselves take the responsibility for this. Yes, because they have a big modeling team and they took over a model until very detailed enough for their subcons construction. Correct. So it really depends on the arrangement. Different projects have different arrangement. But the most important thing is everybody has access to the model.
Yes.
You have a very nice roadmap of your BIM journey, which is very good for selection and very clear. I noticed that in the year 2018, you want to achieve a level 1.
Yes.
Use mic so that the online participants can also hear.
Yeah, we saw your roadmap of the BIM journey, which is very impressive. Set a very good direction for the company. And I noticed that in year 2018, level 3, so level 3 BIM, which is the more or less the holy grail of where you want to be. Right now, in this year, do you think that the target is optimistic or pessimistic?
Okay. Okay, thank you for the question. And okay, actually, this level of B maturity, we got this one from UK based one, something like BCA also. For the case of Jalan Singa, actually, we already take some part of it, and our next project actually is one of the can I say factory actually, which we are implementing federated BIM, which we do it until 5D. So I think the other maybe it depends on the trend actually, because this one integrated project delivery is actually more on contract. So I'm not sure with that one, but for on our side, maybe at least the federated BIM or BIM server will be implemented as a consultant.
BIM server we have done for that, right?
Yes.
So actually to answer your question, we have actually done parts of it for different projects. Actually, all of it we have done. And in part, it also, like what Ajit pointed out, it also depends on the contractual arrangement. Some projects we simply cannot do integrated project delivery because it's a traditional design kind of project. So we can't control external factors, but what we can do is to ensure that we are always ready. If there is an opportunity, we have the capability to do that. I think, so to answer back your question, I think we are almost there already. So it's actually quite a conservative figure, 2018. Yeah.
There's an online question.
Online question.
Yeah.
Okay, so question from Kimberly. If the architecture firm use Revit, must the other sectors, contractors, engineers, etc., use Revit in order to collaborate, or they can actually use other software?
Thank you for the question. It's not necessarily meaning Revit will, although it's good if we have common platform actually, but to the use of IFC actually, which is I think Revit since Revit 2015 is quite good because they can import the IFC already. I think they call this one is interoperability. So last time we have a problem on this one because of the problem with the IFC thing when you export from certain softwares, Tekla to Revit, there's some information loss. Actually, we also encountered this one in one of our project where the structure actually is using Tekla because they want if you all know Revit structure is not that good as Tekla in terms of like doing fabrication modeling. So our structure actually is still using Tekla. So how we coordinate that one is to using the IFC format. So on our file exchange actually, as indicated in our BIM execution plan, we actually include the native file and IFC file to make sure that all the consultants or the team can see their model. Yes. So to answer that thing is actually it's not necessarily use Revit only.
Any other question?
Question from student. No. Oh, Pico. We don't use.
No, that's QS, right?
Yes, yes. Sorry.
We don't
use. Sorry.
Okay, one more question. Okay, thank you, the
Thank you.
architects, for the Okay, so the next we will share. Okay, so it's a field-a-thon from last year's winner.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all. Can you guys hear me? Guys at the back. Okay. Okay. My name is Chai. I'm from last year's first runner team. Graduated from BCA. So now I'm back today to share what I can share with all of you guys. I hope you guys can ask me a few questions after that. Okay. This is what we showcased last year during competition. Number one, when we are looking into this competition, the mission and motivation of the team is to look into designing sustainable buildings through BIM and create buildings that will serve the community and act as a communal area for residents. Then over here, we can see the life cycle. We see different software, the different softwares the team have used, as well as the different stages from planning up until modeling, then slowly into completion. Throughout these stages, the team faced many challenges and encountered many problems. In the later slides, we will elaborate further on some of the problems and how the team is able to overcome them through BIM. During the planning phase, the team did a site visit to gather more information, such as transportation routes, human traffic, and nearby amenities. Other information, such as building codes and regulations, are found online through the various relevant government agencies, such as LTA and BCA. To note, we found that there are plans to run an underground MRT track directly across the site, so it's not advisable to have substructures underground. So this info impacted the thought process, resulting in the team looking at creating all our structures above ground. Next, during the design, the team hoped to give something unique to the residents of Tampines, because this project, the question was based on a site in Tampines. So we found that Tampines was actually named after a tree called Tampines tree. So from the shape of the tree crown, we came up with three conceptual designs. Next, the team ran weather simulations on the sun path and wind conditions to confirm the best possible design for the building. Here we see three wind simulations for the three models, and we finally decided on using one of them. So from this picture, we can see that this design has relatively high buildability. It is made up of identical blocks and curves with uniform design throughout the whole building in terms of columns as well as mechanical systems. The team has looked into the idea of adding possible building components such as curved slabs and vertical vegetation modeling components for modular construction. Attributes such as things like the size and cost are then input into the families for ease of costing. Next, the actual modeling of the building was done through a Revit platform and is divided into three main areas: architectural, mechanical, as well as structural. The main problem with Revit modeling lies with how we can have different disciplines interact effectively from beginning until the end, because most of our modelers work almost concurrently on their individual models. The design also constantly changes throughout this process through design refinement. And the challenge is to have different disciplines keep adjusting and correcting their design to prevent clashes while conforming to certain requirements, certain codes. A good example is the basketball court. I'm not sure if it's shown here. Okay, a good example is the basketball court. Initial designs did not take into account the placement of our supporting columns because we're using a grid format. So some of the grids, some of the columns actually are placed in the middle of the basketball court. So through BIM, this problem was quickly resolved by using alternative methods. And next, we can see a quick build-up from ground zero until the placement of mechanical systems. So I think this software doesn't support this. Okay, next we go into once the modeling is done, we actually ran Naviswork to detect any clashes. This is a screenshot of air conducting supply ducts clashing with beams before and after corrections in the ducting offset. Here are screenshots of costings taken out from building schedules. The total costing of the building is roughly about 45 to 50 mil. Next, with the recent attention in sustainability and green mark standards, the team found an innovative way to calculate some requirements for green mark. An example shown here is the calculation of green concrete. By programming the schedules and quantities section in Revit, we can see the percentage of green concrete used immediately for the auditor to grade. Another innovation is to help improve interdiscipline collaboration. Mechanical engineers can now quickly size aircon systems simply by getting the layout areas from ARCI models, combining data with lighting power levels by modified formulas. The engineer can now quickly set the cooling load parameters, enabling quick and instant aircon sizing. So, in conclusion, my team is very happy and excited to be able to use BIM as a platform to effectively communicate between different disciplines and collaborate our data through this competition. With that, I end my presentation. Thank you.
Any question? Question for him? Question? Okay, any question for him?
The one to ask how they win, how they won. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Before we go to the competition briefing, I would like to give some token to the presenter.
To Loud Architects. Also to the competition. Okay, are you excited? Okay, we will have a short break. Yeah, so there's our refreshments at level 2. So after the refreshments, we will go to the competition. Thank you. Yes, they will still come because the briefing will be after. The refreshments is level 2. Also, help yourself, yeah. Sorry?
Okay, so the refreshments. Okay, so you'll be back after 30 minutes. 3:45.
Everybody is doing it. It's the same side, right? But different company. Yeah, I know. But the site is the same one.
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, can we leave our belonging? Can we leave our belonging?
Yeah.
Oh, site visit is really visit. Oh, I thought visit the site. Oh, it's like that.
Depends on the member, because the member from here. Oh, you will be. Because they didn't
Yeah, I thought it's the site visit.
The mentor visited.
Yeah. Yeah. Also for
You start at 1 hour, almost 1 hour, then you start the whole thing.
Which one?
The video. You say you record it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now it's break, is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We no need to pause, right?
When you pause, they can run.
Yeah.
Still running. Till with this thing.
It's okay. It's okay.
then today the briefing we will get the detail of the whole.
Yes, project, but not the actual project. Some
So there's no site visit, there's no site.
There
Right?
will be site visit. It depends on you, because we will give the project site
The site is where? Where's the site?
later.
It's,
Yeah,
it's,
later.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know whether
Everybody is doing the same site. Right?
yes, same site.
Okay.
You're confused because I put site visit. Dito ka lang or bababa ka? Sige, baba ka. Lawrence, are you going out? Or you stay here?
Who?
You?
I am going out because I just want to make sure everything is okay.
Can we?
You can walk like you're okay, right? I just walk. I mean,
This one, even if this is just open, nothing is
yeah.
moving.
Just, you will just run. But you should put break time or something, competition break
time.
Otherwise, who would know?
No, because I put there, okay, let's put break time. Maybe,
Yeah,
because later, no, because later, How to see the side format? How to see this side?
Oh, okay, okay. View. Then the
This
normal.
one.
Okay, correct now.
Okay. Time. Tea break.
Okay, right now.
Resume.
One line with will change. Come back then, you just continue the slide.
Both matters of action.
You want to say something? No, it's okay. Hello，冷静啊。文亮，你们在家？OK 吗？OK 啊。要什么事，宝贝？我拍到我的脸，知道在那边。做什么呢？最近都有工作做。对。我现在在 BCA Academy， 或者是说人家来他 BCA 是 BIM Competition。可能是说到从后的对人嘛，你在哪里在网站那个？就是我们看到你在放的，你大一点的小浪费，然后你知道。看阿达呀。
National country speaking.
Which country? South Korea, India, Australia,
For each country one university. And plus, local how many team? 17. 7. So ours is the most.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, really? You get something? So you will talk
然后我又专业做AI，发现有。
变成了一个神话。我会帮你除掉，我跟你讲。
Dalawa. Dalawang pizza. Question muna tayo. Question muna tayo? Hindi. Question muna ito. Question mo para Nagulat ka. Sabi ng we are about to start. Hello. Okay, before we proceed to the actual the competition briefing, there's another question online. Yeah, one question. Okay, so for the winner last year, the question is, okay, could you please explain the roles of each team member in your team?
Each team member. I have 8 guys on my team. the roles of each team member. Basically, what I did is I broke down my team into 3 main disciplines. Then I gave them very strict orders because we have to do submissions every day. So certain milestones have to be kept on time. I will pressure them to stay on top of my schedule. So every small discipline will have one team leader. They have to answer to me. So there's a certain hierarchy in the way we do things. I hope that answered the questions.
Okay, any other question? Okay, no more question now. Okay, so without further delay, competition briefing. So I'll hand over to Yanni.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. I hope you enjoyed your break time, your refreshments. So now we go on to the actual competition briefing itself. So this is where you will know exactly what to expect, except for the details, of course, so that you will have ample time to prepare before the actual competition. So before I go into that, let me just discuss first regarding the timeline and where we are now. So we are here. This is a competition brief. If you notice, the actual competition won't be until August 17, so which gives us exactly 16 days. And we'd like to highlight that during the 16 days, we hope that you will still be productive. This is the perfect time for you to do research, to learn whatever skills that you feel that you need to learn that is relevant to this competition, especially once we release what the actual competition theme is, which is in the next slide. Okay, so the competition theme, I actually hope that you paid close attention to the second to the last slide in the presentation of Loud Architects. They actually mentioned it. Do any of you remember? Have you all noticed? So the theme for this year is DFMA. DFMA means Design for Manufacture and Assembly. Can I just have a show of hands? Who in the audience here have even heard of DFMA, including mentors? Okay, so to give everyone, for everyone's benefit, we're going to give a bit of a background, especially where BCA stands in terms of DFMA. So DFMA is actually part of BCA's drive towards greater construction productivity through game-changing technology. Okay, so DFMA is one of these game-changing technologies. What is that? What is it exactly? Basically, it is an approach to design that focuses on ease of manufacture off-site and efficiency of assembly on-site. So in order for you to understand this, I have to explain a little on the current process. So you might know that the current or traditional process involves consultants working on a design, let's say, and then he tenders it out to the main contractor. The main contractor then procures all of the raw materials that he needs, basically the ingredients to the building, and then constructs it all on site, most of the time anyway. So DFME is quite different because even during the design process itself, you're already thinking on how it is supposed to be manufactured, how it's going to be transported and delivered, and then finally, how it's going to be assembled. So do you see the distinction here? Maybe the traditional way, architects can come up with, the sky's the limit in terms of imagination, in terms of building design. But then the designer, together with the contractor, will have to figure it out how to construct. But in DFMA, this is all have to be figured out during the design phase. So basically, the building now consists of building units which are prefabricated under controlled conditions, basically in a factory. And then it is then transported to construction site where they are then assembled. So just like in the images here, if you notice that these are actually rooms or units that are then stacked almost like Lego blocks, or you know the Jenga blocks, where you can just stack blocks one on top of another. So it's very different from the typical construction process. So why are we pushing for this? It actually has many benefits. First of all, it reduces the construction time. Why does it reduce construction time? It's because you don't have to wait anymore for concrete to cure. You don't have to wait for scaffoldings and formworks to be assembled and then disassembled. And then because of that, you're reducing the amount of activities at site, so therefore you're also saving in terms of manpower. And then you have higher quality. Why do you have higher quality? It's because you're manufacturing these units in a controlled environment, in a factory basically. So you're not working in a hostile environment wherein maybe it's full of debris or dust. You have a hard time monitoring your crews, which are a lot of crews. So it's more or less like how you manufacture a car. It's like an assembly line. And because of that, because there are less activities on site, you have a better time controlling safety, because you have lesser people who are working in maybe what do you call that, on scaffolds and on very hostile conditions. So we're not going to go into detail. We're just going to zoom in into the general principles of the FMA. So first of all, you simplify the design and reduce the number of parts. But we'd like to highlight that simplifying the design does not equate to making the building look boring. Let it not be said that the FMA results to a box-like building wherein, which is a result of stacking boxes one on top of another. That's why this competition is actually an opportunity for you to innovate and become really creative on how to design buildings that are very efficient but still very aesthetically pleasing. You see the challenge? Okay. So also another key word is modularization. So basically we are modularizing the design to facilitate assembly. We are standardizing and using common parts and materials. We are designing for ease of assembly through connection detailing. So from here on, up until the actual competition, it will be up to you to really research this in further detail. Okay, other key terms that are related to DFMA, maybe these would be familiar to you. PPVC, PBU, prefab, precast, modular construction, cross-laminated timber, these are all related to DFMA. Okay, so this is as much as we can give you for now. We hope in the next few weeks or next few days, you take the opportunity to research, you consult with your mentors, because your mentors might have actual real-world experience in terms of DFMA, because this is a real-world challenge actually that you have to figure out. Okay, so basically the competition project objective is to design and construct a building project using the principles of DFMA through BIM collaboration and innovation. Now I just like to pick up a few keywords here. You notice it's design, and then it's also construction. The principles of DFMA, but of course, since this is a BIM competition, you have to do it in a BIM platform. Collaboration plus tools. How you work together and how you're able to use the BIM technology to arrive at your solution. Okay, so on the first day of the actual competition, we will be releasing all of the documents and information that you will need to start. The first one is, of course, the site plan and topography. So the site may or may not be flat, but you're required to model out the topography. The vicinity map showing the adjacent roads, buildings, lots, if there are empty lots, if there are empty buildings, if there are buildings adjacent to it, then this is relevant to your logistics planning and traffic and access. The spatial program, so this is where we actually give you what type of building it is and the list of rooms, the functional spaces, plus the area of each room. So this is the minimum list of spaces and the minimum area of every space. So in your design, you have to comply with all of these spaces plus their areas. The number of units of each different type. So this is the modules itself. So we're not going to say as of now whether it is a hotel or residential. We'll release that during the first day. And then zooming into one unit, then we'll give you the minimum area of this unit plus the furniture requirements. So you just don't, make a certain module and then the interior spaces, the interior functional requirement is not complied with. List of constraints. This is a list of constraints pertaining to the FMA, and I'm going to elaborate on this later on. And then a list of building height or massing restrictions. For example, we're going to give you a maximum number of floors, a certain number of towers, and then maximum GFA, which you must not exceed. Okay, so the full actual details of all of these will be given on the first day of the competition. All right, going back to this. This is the first day, August 17. So from August 1 to August 16 will be the research period. Please don't take it lightly because we'd like to highlight that this research is actually counted as part of the judging criteria because it will be a prerequisite. It will be part of how you actually collaborated as a team to come up with your building design. Okay, so then I'm going to talk about the day-to-day deliverables. As you already know, every day you're going to have to produce a list of deliverables. So on the first day, overall competition strategy. So when we say the overall competition strategy, this includes research. This includes how you work as a team, how you disseminate your roles and responsibilities, your collaboration strategies as a team. As a team, and then your timeline or your time management. Okay. Next is the overall project execution plan. So this is different from competition strategy because competition strategy is in terms of your team, but this project execution plan is the project itself. So both these two, we will be giving the templates of these documents on the first day. And then also sustainability analysis. So when you design, you're going to have to come up with your massing, but this massing must have basis in terms of sustainable design, how you orient your building based on solar and wind analysis. Schematic design and layout of rooms. So basically, this is where you arrange all of your rooms, making sure that you comply with all of the functional requirements that we have set out for you. And then modularization plan. So basically on your screen here, yeah. On your screen, this, okay. On the screen, this is the sample of the schematic design or layout of rooms, and then this is a sample of a modularization plan. Basically, how you take the room layout and then modularize it in preparation for the FME. Okay, and then schematic layout of the main MEP routing, basically where and how you intend to run all of your main services along the circulation spaces. So that is for day 1. Day 2, we zoom in to the module itself. So this is where you produce the detailed design of the typical module, including the services inside of the module. the connection details, how you intend to connect the module to adjacent modules or to the structure, the different module configurations and permutations. This is related to BIM because you're going to have to show evidence of development of standard components or parametric objects in BIM, basically families. And then at this point in time, you must be able to submit the coordinated models for all 3 disciplines. So that is for day 2. Day 3 is all about planning and sequencing. So then we tackle actual construction plus assembly, planning and scheduling, the module delivery, storage at site, hoisting, logistics, and so on. And then the sequence of module installation until completion. So the actual construction and assembly of the building itself will all be done on day 3. Day 4 is your chance and opportunity to touch up and finalize the deliverables that you have been working on in the previous days, and then produce the final materials. So in terms of the final materials, there are 4. First is a poster showing all of the 3 stages of the project output, meaning the previous 3 days, and then the presentation slides showing the same content. Simulation video of the building installation. We'd like to highlight that this video is of the building installation. It's not a fly-through. It's not a walkthrough. This is DFMA, so you have to show how the sequence at site actually carries out. And then documentation of the pre-competition research, collaboration strategy, learning points, etc. So this document is basically the behind-the-scenes qualitative documentation on what is going on as a group and how you collaborate. The rest are actual output of the project itself. So, and for the poster slides and the documents, we will be giving the templates for all of this on the first day. So then you just have to slot in your images and your full content. Okay? So this is the list of constraints that I have mentioned as part of the given on the first day. We will be giving you the equipment that you will be needing to hoist and assemble your building, the number of cranes, the type of crane, and the loading capacity. The hoisting time of one module, how many minutes does it take? The production rates of the factory, how many modules can the factory produce in one day? The storage capacity of the factory, how many modules can it store at any given time? And the storage provision of modules on site. I need your attention because I really need to explain this. It's kind of tricky. What I mean by number 5 is, given that you have already calculated how many modules that you can install in one day, if we say that you have to provide storage provision for 3 days, then that means that the storage provision at site should be 3 times the number of modules that you can install in one day. Understood? I'm gonna explain again. So let's say in one day you can install 50 modules. And we're going to say that you need to provide storage provision on site enough for 3 days. So how many modules can you store? 150. So that is what we mean. Okay, everyone understands? Okay, great. We're gonna give you a maximum project timeline, maximum of how many months. And then, since we do not want to focus this BIM competition as an MEP design competition, we will be giving you the list of services plus the sizes of these services. So all you have to do is fit it into the building, into the circulation spaces, and then coordinate. Other considerations, these are all related to DFMA: traffic routing and accessibility, delivery and loading, connection details and treatment of joints, standardization and modularization, sequence of works. But 1 to 7, we will be giving you actual numbers. Okay, so judging criteria. First criteria is in terms of you as a project team, meaning how you did your competition planning, your research, presentation, team effort. That will be 10%. The second criteria is DFMA design. So this relates to standardization, modularization, and so on and so forth. That is 20%. The third criteria is construction and assembly. So how you went about your construction planning, scheduling, sequencing. That is 30%. The fourth criteria is BIM. How you actually use BIM for DFMA. So that includes the quality of your BIM model, the use of parametric objects, how you coordinated your BIM model, your use of simulation, quantity takeoff, etc. And then last is sustainable design. Basically, how you oriented and came up with your building massing basing on sustainability analysis. So that all adds up to 100%. So given this is an opportunity for you to really focus your strategy and your research. Try not to stray so much on areas that are not related to what we're looking for, because this is quite a challenging theme for this year. Okay, for the project side, I'll hand it over to Mary.
Okay, so this is the project side. Okay, so it's 100 Dover Road, Singapore 139648. Okay, if you try to Google, you can see the actual site. Okay, so in the actual site there is a building. Okay, so assuming that the 100 Dover Road, so it's here, it's vacant. Okay, so assuming this is vacant, so the actual topo we will provide on the first day. Okay, so you can also visit the site if you want. Okay, so this is the address. Okay, so you can see the surroundings, and then maybe you can also figure out what will the project be. Okay. Okay, next, online submission. Okay, so for the online submission, okay, so for the 4 days, we will use Google Drive. Okay, so if you don't have a Google Drive account, you need to register. Okay, so this before the actual competition, so this is from Monday up to Friday. I'll be sending you 2 links. So there will be 2 links. The first link is for the reference files. Means all the references will be there and you need to download the file. Okay, so it's the first link, this one. This is not the actual link, it's just a dummy. Okay, and then the second link is the team folder. Okay, so only your team can access this folder. And also this folder, inside this folder, there are 4 folders. So day 1 folder, day 2, day 3, day 4. Okay, you can only access the folder in a specific time. Okay, so that is before the competition. We will try whether you can access those folders. You can also download some of the files inside. Okay, so during the actual competition, okay, so again, I will email you using the same email address. So by this time, no need for you to register again because you already registered before. Okay, so I'll email you again 2 links. So first link is for the reference file. So this is the actual files that you will use for the competition. And then your team folder. So this is your actual team folder. Okay, so yeah, reference folder contain all necessary references such as design brief, deliverables, templates, etc. Okay, the second link is for the team folder where the teams upload all the submissions. Okay, so these folders can only be accessed on specific timing. Okay, so let's say day 1. Okay, so the competition will start at 9 a.m. Okay, so I'll send you the link an hour before 9. So it's 8 a.m. Take note, we will use Singapore time. Okay, for all the participants except the participants from Turkey, they will be using their own timing. Okay, so other countries, yeah, will be using Singapore time. Okay, so 8 a.m. I'll send you the link. Okay, but you can only access those links at 9 a.m. Okay, 9 a.m. So folder day 1, you can access from 9 a.m. up to 11:59 p.m. Okay, and then after that, you cannot access anymore. You can still view your files that you have submitted, but you cannot upload. Or yeah, you cannot delete anything. Okay, and again, day 2. Okay, so from 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m., you can access day 2 folder. So again, you can upload, edit, delete the files that you have uploaded if the file that you uploaded is not correct. Okay, so day 3, 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. And then day 4, 12 a.m., 11:59 p.m. So you must take note of the timing. Okay? Any question?
No question?
No question? Yes?
How much must the model be BFM?
Okay, the question is,
What's the percentage of the model that must be BFM?
okay, what is the percentage? Are you talking about the judging criteria?
No. I think 100% to be BFM.
Okay, this is where, okay, the question from the audience here is how much percentage of the building should be DFMA. This is where the building typology is actually relevant. So we're not going to choose a building typology that is not conducive, is not fit for DFMA, let's say a mall. So it's most likely a building type that has a lot of repeatable components, let's say rooms or units. So those units have to be DFMA. All of those units have to be DFMA.
So let's if, for example, a hotel. So the center whereby the grand lobby, I can still use discussion.
That should, yeah. I won't, yeah. I'm not gonna answer that, but it's up to you if you still, if you want to use precast or cast in place. That's part of your strategy. But for the repeatable units, they should be DFMA. There's a question from international students here. It's related to MEP. The question is building, mechanical, and plumbing part still important for this competition? As I mentioned, there is an MEP component here, but like I said, we emphasize that this is not an MEP design competition. We will be providing the MEP services that you will have to coordinate. So we are focusing on MEP coordination and the provision of MEP inside of the units. Another related question to that is that if MEP components will be provided, no. We will just be giving you the list of services plus the corresponding sizes. No other questions?
Okay, yeah, good question.
Repeat.
Okay, the question is if you submitted at 11:58 and then it's still uploading. Okay, there is an allowance of 1 hour. Yeah. So make sure you submit before, by 11:59. I think the uploading time will not be 1 hour plus, right? Or does it, I think it depends on your, bandwidth. Okay, so that there will be an allowance of 1 hour.
The site has shown to have an existing building. So are we supposed to demolish the building?
Okay, question is regarding the project site. The site shows an existing building. Are you supposed to demolish the existing building?
We assume that there's no building.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so in the project site, there is an existing building. So you will assume, yeah, you have to assume that the site is empty.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the existing development is still there, the surroundings still there.
Yeah. All of the information with regards to what is inside the site or what is in the surroundings, all of that will be given as part of the site plan and the vicinity map. So there's no need to assume because if there is no building there, if there's a building there, we won't be putting it on the actual site plan.
Yes?
So I understand that every day we have to submit something, like that's criteria. But say on day 2, right, like we didn't manage to complete, but day 3 we want to submit together, I think so. I think is this still possible?
Okay. Let me go back to the slide. I think this one, right? Okay, so day 2, you didn't manage to submit everything. Is it?
Example, like whether they want to for day 3.
Mm-hmm.
So like at the final day, I understand that we submit everything together. So, but to say like whoever for day 2, I didn't manage to submit. For example, number 3, I missed it out. But my day 3 submission, I upload together with that number 3 that I missed out. Is it okay?
Okay, yeah, good question. Okay. If they didn't manage to submit the deliverable on that day, can they submit on the next day? Okay, I think you still can submit, but we will give you some demerits. Yeah. And then in day 4, as you can see, there is this touch-up or amendment submission of the final model. Okay, so this was also only referring to the models, but the documentation, there will be some demerits. Question?
Will hoisting details be given?
Yes. Hoisting. The question is, will hoisting details be given? Hoisting time?
Hoisting waste, for example.
Yes.
Capacity.
Because that is part of the constraints. No. Is it here? I think it's. Yeah. Yes. Yes. So the hoisting details will be given in terms of the crane that you're going to use in hoisting and the loading capacity of that crane and the type of crane and the time it takes to hoist. There is another question.
Can I change?
The question is how to find out how large the factory capacity is. You don't need to find out how large it is because we already given it as a constraint that the production rate of the factory is this number of modules per day, and then it is capable of storing this number of modules per day. Another question. Can I change team member?
Definitely cannot.
No.
It should be 3 weeks before the competition.
Yeah, it should have been finalized
3 weeks before, yeah.
Before
It's part of the
terms. I'm wondering if you all of a sudden remembered a person who is very good at the FME.
How large?
Any other questions?
Yes. Yeah, when? We will send you. Yes.
The question is if it's possible to obtain a copy of the PowerPoint slide.
Yes.
Yes, we will be sending to you.
This one. When? Next.
we will be sending to you next week.
Yeah, and you can still watch the video if you want to watch it again. You can still watch it on the same link. Yeah, but this one will be deleted before the competition. Competition is Monday, so it will be deleted by Sunday. Yeah, if you go to the link that I gave you last week, you can still watch the video from there. But again, it will be deleted before the competition day.
There was a slide where you showed examples of interview. Can I go back to the slide?
The first few slides, is
The
it?
first few slides. These are examples of data where usually we're using concrete or laminated data. Is it possible that we can use new materials for this?
So the question is, for this slide, is it possible to use new materials? Can you elaborate what sort of new materials?
Let's say I'm using paper.
Paper.
Yeah.
Okay.
That will be very interesting, but you're going to have to support.
Yes.
Especially if you are coming up with something totally new. Yes.
Maybe provide some documentation.
Provide documentation or research or supporting,
Yeah, that's part of innovation. So 10%.
No other questions? So again, we'd like to highlight that the next few days is very important. Research and learning, quickly learning skills and tools. Another question from international participants. Does the FME consider new technology like laser cutting and 3D printing? You have to verify through research. I'm not going to say anymore.
Okay, any other question?
No more?
Okay. Okay, if there's no other question, so that's it for today. Thank you for the time. Okay, so we hope that you will do your research and enjoy the upcoming competition. Thanks again for coming.
Meron akong meet in 10 minutes ko lang, babalikan. Kasi insert ko nga.
Sige, kaya rin natin. Kailangan kaya rin. Siguro hindi na lang ako nag-assistant lang. Hello? Hello, before you go out, can we ask the teams to go in front with your mentor and then we will take some photos? Photo taking. Okay, so yeah, one team. One team, come on first. No mentor.
Okay, sorry, we will just take one photo for everyone. So just stay in the
Everybody get together, sit down, take Okay, maybe the last row, y'all stand hands so that we can bring more people. The last row, y'all stand up, then everybody can join. Yeah, come up. The last row, y'all come the behind people join. Can come. Yeah. Come, just the last row people can y'all bring closer. Yeah. Yeah, the last row people, yeah, very good. Oh, you're joining also, come. Okay, very good. Yeah. Yeah, closer a little bit more. The behind. Okay, can. Okay, very good. Like behind people, squeeze a little bit. Yeah. Okay, can. The two ladies, you have to up. The behind sitting one, yeah. Okay. Okay. Can, yeah. That's good. You stand up and see y'all. Yeah, very good. Yes, very good. Everybody can see. Wow, very nice. Okay, let me check first, Very good. Okay, happy smiling. 1, 2, 3. Okay, good. One more here. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Can we do a thumb up together? Okay. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Storage. Meaning that you store how many days you
Do we need to provide a structural plan like that?
No need. Basically, what we listed in the first day. Like, there's no structural plan, right?
Just the schematic,
Yeah.
for the modular parts. But the system like that means we can use live, right? We don't need to exactly to draw the whole wall.
That one will be, I think, is it in day 2? Because yeah, it's like first day is like a massing. It's a line first, and then day 2 you zoom in.
But the maxing we just need to draw. We don't need to do like physical model.
Yes.
Okay. We still have any questions?
Yeah, we can still examine. Okay.
但是我们得要算出来，就是我大概就对规码还有大概说一块多少。
We just with it. Yeah, just because it's morning, so maybe I'll just go there.
Thank you. Welcome. Bye bye. Thanks.
Bye.
If there's any question,
Just email us. Email, yeah.
This is the email previously yours.
Mary and yeah, the BCA one.
The BCR. Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Guys,
Hmm.